What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time on a Sunday afternoon. It could be late morning across the United States. I'm Britt Devine. Supposed to be on yesterday. Had some kids, had the AC breaking down here. Thankfully, it was just a leaky pipe. I think Tim ended up covering for me. I don't know. I got really stuck in a situation yesterday. But oh, you did? All right. TJ managed to cover for me yesterday. Thank you, sir. But happy to be back with TJ. Happy to be here with Will, last name to be talked about in a little bit. But first, we'll go to TJ. What's going on, TJ?
Doing well. It's a nice, beautiful morning here in Saskatoon. I got lots and lots of Spidey bombs ready for the people today. So if we keep smashing the like button, we're going to have a lot of home run picks coming their way. So keep hitting that like button. Nice to see everybody on a Sunday morning for me, Sunday afternoon in the East Coast, and ready to talk some baseball.
Yeah, there should be lots of Spidey bombs. We were talking pre-show. There are a lot of bats you want to use today, and only so many positions in your lineup to put them in. We have Will Priester here. We'll call him Chief today instead of Will Priester. Will, your boy that you like to go against, had himself basically. I'm going to assume that's going to be the best outing of Mr. Quinn Priester's career. I see a couple people in chat coming at you. It's the Rockies. It looks like the Rockies can outdo Quinn Priester greater than the Rockies.
Hey, it is what it is, man. I will keep taking my stand on Cousin Quinn. It worked out for me last week. It didn't work out yesterday. It is what it is. I've made tons of money off of Cousin Quinn unders and stacking up against him. So I'm still ahead in that race in terms of profitability. But yesterday, boy, are the Rockies bad. And hey, I got a pie thrown in my face on that one.
Well, we get to play a Patrick today. I don't know. Is there a Patrick here? No, there is not a Patrick at RotoGrinders for us to come on here for a cousin Patrick. But we'll see if he has the ability to shut down the Rockies again today. So TJ, what do you want for the first Spidey bomb? They're smashing the like. We're already at 50, but there's almost 200 watching. Are we doing it at 50?
First one at 50, second at 75, third at 100, and I'll do starting at 50 likes. We'll do every 25 likes instead of 50 because I am feeling good this Sunday, and so we'll drop the first one right off the bat. My guy, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. plus 450. Second one at 75 likes. Third one at 100 likes.
Yeah, Vlad should be a staple in some of your teams today. You can bet his bases. I like Toronto. I think I bet Toronto up on scores and odds. Really like the Blue Jays over the Red Sox today if you were looking for sort of a money line. If you're like me, you can't get down a lot of money on home run props most places. The money lines are still open. You can get Toronto, at least for me on that one. All right, let's go. Normally, will you have like cards or Tim or somebody to bounce some cash game talk off? TJ has volunteered to help me out a little bit on that one today. It's pretty simple, TJ. First on DraftKings, your cash game pitchers are Spencer Strider and Chad Patrick. Strider is not expensive enough. Patrick's probably about where he should be priced. I'd argue probably even more against the Rockies. They're just too cheap. You want to use those two, to me. More so on FanDuel, to me, Strider at 9,500 still isn't priced up enough. It looks like his K's are back. He's returning to form, things like that. It's not the greatest matchup against Philly, but if Strider's on, there's really no comparison to him in baseball, maybe except Skubal. Strider or Patrick over on FanDuel, and I don't really see a need to really talk about anybody else for your cash game pitchers today.
No, and I think we barely have to talk about anybody else from a tournament perspective too. But yeah, Strider, Patrick. If I can get to Strider on FanDuel, that's my preference. If you can't, I think Patrick is fine. But on DraftKings, without a doubt, both of them today. I only have 4 total pitchers in my pool for tournaments, and I don't think like if I was doing a 3-entry max, it would just be 2, those guys, Strider and Patrick. And then in my 150 lineups, I'm only playing 4 total pitchers.
So let's spill the beans here. Who are they? I could see a little more than 4. I would, off the top of my head, looking, I could see maybe like 6 to 7. So who are your 4 that you've really condensed into today?
I have Strider and Patrick up top, and then I have Marquez and Severino all the way at the bottom, and that's it.
Wow.
I'm going Marquez just because he's actually pitched pretty well lately, and he's only 5K, and so it does allow you to. There's just certain offenses on this slate that you can't get to if you don't have some cheap pitching, and so throwing Marquez in there and Severino, I am absolutely expecting to get beat up by the Yankees, but the Yankees are going to be chalked today, and we have seen terrible pitchers have massive strikeout games against them recently. The Yankees have a ton of power. They've also been striking out a lot, and so I do not like Severino even a little bit, but I am playing him because he's really cheap. The Yankees have been striking out lately, and nobody else is going to be playing him. So I have 85% Strider, 70% Patrick, 30% Marquez, 20% Severino. That's my entire pool. The only other guy I was even considering was Chris Bubich against the Dodgers.
So I think I saw Allen on Scores and Odds today. I think since sportsbook lines were created, there's never been a team that has gone 16 games on their under against the line, and that is the Yankees right now. They're trying to make it 17 today. It's up to 10.5 here. TJ, I would assume you'd be hitting the under on that if you were betting on the sports books.
Yeah, I don't really ever mess around with over-unders too often unless there's like a big weather thing that I want to capitalize on. But if I were to bet on that one, it'd be the under. But I mean, still, I don't expect Severino to be good. So it's not like I'm thinking like he's going to shut down the Yankees today. It's just a bit of a hedge on I want a cheap pitcher. None of them look very good outside of maybe Marquez. And the Yankees have been K'ing a lot. So it's more of like a 3% owned on DraftKings type of reason as opposed to I really think he's going to cook today.
Will, so when TJ said he had 4 pitchers in his player pool, I understand that you do need those cheap pitchers to get the more expensive stacks out there today. I was not expecting Marquez and Severino to be the other 2 pitchers.
You should have expected Marquez. If you check out the RotoGrinders expert survey today, me, Christy, and Cheese all wrote him up as a play today.
All right. So if he's going to be 1% owned and all you guys like him as a play, I would certainly bump the ownership up on that. So I
bet it'll be like 5. I'll be like closer to 10%.
Yeah. Will, first off, what do you think of Strider and Patrick as the chalk? Who else would you mix in there? I could see a couple guys I'm interested in off the top of my head would be an Eric Lauer at 7,600. I really like the Blue Jays mainly on the back of Eric Lauer at 7,600. I think Ranger Suarez is pretty interesting as a swerve from the high-end players, the higher price players. Those are a couple of the names I was looking at. What are you doing?
Yeah, I like Ranger Suarez. He's kind of my pivot at the top end. I would be playing Suarez over Patrick today. If I was trying to go double barrel, I'd probably play both. I'd probably play Suarez, Strider, and Cash, but that's just me. I think Suarez has been good. The K stuff may not be there, but the Braves are actually striking out quite a bit against lefties with this particular lineup. There's some spots. So, and once again, I'm not going to overblow it. Acuna's only 26 plate appearances, Olsen 81. Like, it's not like crazy extreme plate appearances, but on the season right now, there are some strikeouts in this lineup to lefties. Ranger Suarez typically a guy that's going to have good control, keep the ball on the ground. So at a minimum, even if all the strikeouts don't show up, Britt, he should still be able to get through 6 and hopefully pretty clean. So I do like Ranger Suarez quite a bit today. I agree with these guys on Marquez. Let's not forget, Marquez is 3 or 4 years removed from being an all-star pitcher, Britt. I mean, this guy was mostly, he just got hurt, and things just haven't been great for him the past couple of years. But at 5K, I definitely think this is a guy that you can sprinkle in and get into some of those lineups. I think it's really good value. Even if you pick you up 12 points, Britt, that's probably enough to help you take down a tournament if the bats go nuclear. So really do like Marquez. One other pitcher that I did want to mention today that I think is, let's call it, I don't want to say off the beaten path, but I feel like he's not going to get as much ownership because of the price, and that's Framber. Like, Framber's actually been really good really tough matchup with the Cubs. I get it. But, just in terms of how he's been pitching, he's been really good this season. So I don't want to overlook him either. I just think, he may not pick up as much ownership as some of these other guys, but the Cubs have a couple strikeouts in this lineup. And once again, he's been solid. Another pitcher is going to keep the ball on the ground. If a few strikeouts show up, this is a guy that could go the distance as well and hopefully be in line for the win, because I do expect Houston to score a few runs off of Jamison Tyon today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Couple guys.
Let me just say, Britt, I want to redeem myself. Everybody's talking about my cousin Quinn call. Nobody's talking about my Miami Marlins call, who just went nuclear.
We knew.
Oh, I had that on Scores and Odds yesterday.
Everybody wants to load up on Quinn. That's my one bad call of the weekend, which is probably the obvious call. Hey man, let's not forget Miami gave us some good production yesterday with pretty much half their lineup or most of their lineup under 4K. Just wanted to throw that in there.
I like the Marlins yesterday. That was a 2-unit big underdog money line winner. I didn't write the Marlins up today. I can't turn Scores and Odds into Britt's personal sports betting platform. But I am on the Marlins again today. I like that offense. It's clicking pretty good here today. TJ, real quick, I see Corey Seager, Spidey Bomb number 2. What do you like about him? And then I want to ask you just about a couple more pitchers as well after that.
Yeah, Corey Seager scrolling at the bottom there, plus 390 to go along with plus 450 from Vladimir Guerrero today. We'll drop the third one at 100 likes. He's finally heating back up. He came back from injury. He was struggling, and now we are seeing the Corey Seager we know and love facing Luis Castillo, who is trash against left-handed bats. So love me some Corey Seager today in DFS and in as the Spidey Bomb. He is my highest owned bat today in DFS as well. First two, Vladdy Jr., Corey Seager, third one at 100 likes.
Now, Will, I see you multitasking. While we're here talking, I see Scores and Odds alerts coming up here. For Mr. Chad Patrick, are you trying to redeem yourself here?
No. Listen, I don't mind the strikeout props. Like, listen, man. Listen. Money has to be made all over the place. Give me the Chad Patrick strikeouts. Like, that doesn't mean I want to play him for DFS. I mean, he could legitimately get 8 strikeouts and give up 5 runs today. Like, that is well within reason here. But I mean, you just look at this Colorado lineup, and once again, I was just on certain guys. Like, I still think Ryan McMahon is always in line for a home run against righties. So Patrick will have some strikeouts. It's just, does he still crush it for DFS? I still like some of these other guys better.
Yeah, I'm on everything. I got sports books, I got DFS, I got FanDuel, I got my ears are open to everything out here, Will, when I'm hosting the show. So I do like I like Patrick. I think he's a good play today.
I mean, honestly, sneakily, I do. Since we're on like a prop here, Britt, and I promise I'll help us move along. I do secretly like Suarez over 5.5 at plus money. You can get it at plus 125 at bet 365. That's your best one. I might just write that one up while we're sitting here. But I do like. Well, I actually don't think I can write that one up because we're less than an hour away. But that's a sneaky one at plus money. I do like it for what it's worth.
A couple of guys I don't think I would. And TJ, I know your pool's pretty condensed, but a guy, Luis Castillo, coming in at 15% owned, right? Really struggling this year. He's on the road. He's bad against lefties. He's got to go up against your Spidey Bomb, Corey Seager. I mean, I don't understand why Castillo is drawing this ownership at this price tag. People want to use him today. Go ahead, right?
Yeah, I think Texas is the top stack on the slate. I am not touching any Luis Castillo today.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Does anyone have a take on Lauer? He's been pretty good since entering the starting lineup. Boston hopefully they got all their runs out of the way yesterday against Toronto. Lauer, 7,600 in the mid-tier. I know he's not in your pool, TJ. Do you have a quick thought on him?
I am, just to see how it pans out. I did really like the idea of, since I'm playing so many bats, to just try and keep this 4-player pitcher pool. But just based on your guys' analysis and me kind of wanting to have played Bubic, I'm going to see if I can throw in like 10% Lauer, 10% Bubic, 10% Ranger Suarez today as well. So yeah, that's kind of it for me today, is the main 4, but I am messing with a build right now of including Lauer, Bubic, and Suarez in the pool as well. So I'd be
Oh,
going from 4 pitchers to 7.
all right. Yeah, I think those would be a couple that I would put in there if you were expanding. I like those choices here. I want to move over to offense. Will, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
You heard TJ say you know the Yankees are going to be pretty popular today, and I would agree that even though they really aren't scoring a lot of runs here, the Royals are popping, at least according to SimLabs, as a team that's going to be stacked a lot. The Reds were popular yesterday. I think they're still reasonably in play again today. Tampa's scoring a bajillion runs every game. We saw Baltimore; they're down here towards the bottom. They had a big offensive game yesterday. What are some of your favorite offenses today? I'm not really looking at the Royals for offense. It's a little shocking to me that they're coming through as the highest stacked team. To me, I think the Yankees are going to be the highest owned team overall today.
Well, no surprise here. For whatever reason, I tend to end up on offenses that I guess are off the beaten path. Maybe it's just my thing. I really like the Mets today. I think this is a good spot for them against Burrows. Very low own, a little bit more expensive than people probably want to play as compared to the Yankees, as compared to Tampa Bay. Well, yeah, definitely as compared to Tampa Bay, as compared to the Blue Jays, even as compared to Milwaukee in some respects. I think the Mets should be on their way to a huge day here. When I look at Burrows, once again, is there some strikeout stuff there? Yes, Britt, but look at the ISO numbers, look at the WOBA numbers, look at the ground ball numbers. Everything I'm looking at suggests that the Mets should just absolutely punish Mike Burrows today. I mean, the top of this lineup: Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, McNeil, everybody's got an ISO almost above 200 outside of Lindor. This should be a really tough spot for Burrows today and a really good spot for the Mets. Let's just hope they don't play gutless today, but love this team. One of my favorite stacks from the day, hands down.
Yeah, you can see the Mets were one of the first things I wrote up this morning. Minus 140 with that lineup. And Montas, horrible in the minors, but had a reasonably good outing against the Braves. If this game was 3 weeks ago, Chief, I wrote this would be minus 180 or something like that. So we're getting quite a bit of a discount on the Mets overall, at least from a sports betting perspective. And I agree, I do like their offense today. TJ, what are you looking at out here today? Are you in agreement with the Royals, the Yankees? You mentioned your Rangers are down here as a sneaky stack, one of the lowest owned. So if that fits for you, you're going to be rocketing up the leaderboards. What are you liking today?
Yeah, I'm not on board with the Royals today. I really like the mini stack of Vinny P, Sal Perez, and Bobby Witt, but I don't think you really need to get to anybody else on there. Maybe a Michael Garcia, but that's about it for me. So I'm not on board with the Royals. I have 5 Royal stacks in 150 lineups. Texas is my highest owned stack today. Absolutely love how inexpensive they are. And near the top of the order too. I can play Semien, Seager, Adolis Garcia with Strider and Patrick, or Strider and Suarez, and then still load up on some other good bats. So absolutely a big fan of Texas today. I like the other side of that game. I'm big on Seattle. I like both sides of Tampa Bay and Baltimore. Love both of those stacks today. The Blue Jays, one of my top teams. The A's, one of my top teams. And then the Yankees, of course, as well. But I actually do like them as a mini stack better than the full stack today.
If the Yankees, I think the Yankees will be the top owned team. Just go to the other side of that game. The A's, they've been a little quiet, but their prices are reasonable today. The chat's talking about Stroman's going to get DFA'd after the start. It just hasn't really looked good. I like the A's quite a bit. You can convince me to play 2 or 3, maybe even 4 A's in a lot of even cash game lineups today. I think they're priced reasonable, and they have a really good output today against Stroman, so I like them.
Yeah, Nick Kurtz is my second highest owned battle on the slate behind Corey Seager.
Yeah, 3,900. Him or Diaz is, I talked to you pre-show, TJ, where it's like there are so many good bats today, and they're all basically the same price. Kurtz or Diaz. We'll get to that at first base, but that's something to think about. I'm definitely going to throw that to you in just a second.
I forgot to announce it, but I did drop Spidey Bomb number 3 scrolling as well. So we got Vladdy Guerrero Jr. plus 450, Corey Seager plus 390, and now we have Brandon Lau plus 360. Fourth one at 125, fifth one at 150. Let's keep hitting the like button. I got lots of home run picks for the people today.
I like we're all in agreement. Lau was one of my another thing I wrote up on scores and odds today. Hits, runs, and RBIs for him today is the bet I liked there. All right, let's go position by position a little bit.
Let's just do it early since I'm already talking about him, and we'll go the fifth one at 150 lights. It's Nick Kurtz. That's who the next one is going to be. Absolutely love him to hit a homer today. Plus 360 as well. Their books are finally starting to adapt that, like, oh, this guy's a really good home run hitter. And so this is a great spot. I love Nick Kurtz today.
Yeah, he was like plus 800 or 900 when he first came up here today. So you were able to get some good odds for a while. They have started to adjust here. Catcher, a little more so on DraftKings today as usual. There's probably 3 guys in the cash game consideration for me today. And we'll start on the high end and work our way down. So if you're looking for a higher priced catcher, probably not Cal Raleigh, 6,300. Probably not the optimal way to spend.
He's up. He's been up there for the past few days. I mean, unbelievable.
It's hard to argue against it. I mean, I understand.
Spending
absolutely. That much at catcher, and a cash game, more for like a tournament stack. I understand, but not optimal. So for me, it really starts with Ben Rice at 4,300 on DraftKings for the Yankees hitting cleanup. You're a lefty against Severino. There's good weather there today. He's probably the higher guy I'd be looking at. You've got Sal Perez at 3,200, not having the greatest season, but has enough pop today. I think it's warm and humid out there in Kansas City. It's a big ballpark, but when it's a little warmer, the wind's blowing out, it's humid, all little positives for possibly getting a bigger performance out of your players. And then at the bottom, we have Patrick Bailey at 2,300. If you're looking at the low end, basically trying to punt the position, would probably be my cheapest. But I would generally lean towards Sal Perez or Ben Rice from the cash game perspective. TJ, do you have any problems with those?
No, nothing to add there. I think those are 100% the 2 guys you're considering for cash. My favorite for tournaments is going to be Jonah Heim, batting 5th today for Texas. Another lefty in that stack that I absolutely love. Kyle Teal for the White Sox, still really cheap. I've been playing him a lot, and I am again today. And then Yainer Diaz in the mid-tier, Danny Jansen and Gary Sanchez as cheap plays I like. And then Cal Raleigh up top. We're projecting him for 2% ownership today. I'm going to have about 15%.
Yeah, you could play Gary Sanchez, I think, in cash sometimes too. You know, you're pretty much just home run hunting a lot of the time at catcher. And I think everybody's playing his home run prop today. I was like plus 650. I saw basically everyone in the world that bets home runs was on Gary Sanchez today. Will, you got any other catchers you're really looking for today?
I had him at plus 500.
It's gotten bet down quite a bit today. So,
yeah, I don't think anybody extra. I mean, once again, because I like the Mets, I don't mind throwing Torrance in there even at 2,600 at the bottom of the lineup if that's where you end up to just kind of make it all work. But I don't have anyone extra. I think that I would throw in.
All right, let me get this centered for everybody here today. Let's go to first base. So it's a little bit different on FanDuel. You can get Vlad into your lineup pretty easily on FanDuel today at 3,400. If I have to pick like one first baseman today, it's probably going to be Vlad. If I was looking, he's 5,600 on DraftKings, but 3,400 on FanDuel. Pretty big price discrepancy. Much more in play for me over there. On DraftKings, TJ, I'm finding myself basically at that Nick Kurtz, Yainer Diaz for the Rays price tier today. I'm going to throw that to you. Diaz just been on fire over the past maybe, 15 games, just hits galore. The Rays offense is really performing right now, but generally you want lefties against Kremer today for Baltimore. Who would you rather have? Because this is basically, I'm staring at my lineup and I've been flip-flopping on those two all morning long.
Yeah, this is where my tournament brain gets in the head a little bit, because for tournaments, I do like Nick Kurtz way better. But for cash, I do think you just go Yandy Diaz. 1, he's been hitting the ball really well. 2, he's going to be the higher owned of the 2. 3, he is more like typically the more consistent, whereas Kurtz is like, I'm going to hit a home run or I'm going to strike out. Yandy Diaz can get it done in more different ways. So I think I would do him on cash on DraftKings, whereas I agree with you. Vladdy is the guy on FanDuel. But Kurtz for tournaments is my number 1 guy by far. He's him and Seager are the only bats that I have over 20% today. I really like Vladdy even on DK. I think this is a great day to spend up for a low-owned Shohei Ohtani. We're projecting him for only 5% ownership. Love Pete Alonso. Think he's in a great spot. And then if everyone's going to play Yandy Diaz in tournaments, you fade Yandy, you play Jonathan Aranda. I think he's in a really great spot today. Also like Luke Raley and Spencer Steer and Miguel Vargas and Vinny P. Like there's just so many great plays.
Yeah, we need to spread these guys out towards some of the other positions like second and third base.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ohtani and Alonso. Those are popping on SimLabs as the most optimal plays in tournaments due to that low ownership they're going to be drawing today. Will, where are you looking at first base? Do you like maybe spending like SimLabs is telling us to on Ohtani and Alonso?
Definitely love Alonso. Like you're not gonna get me against Alonso today against Burrows. Love him. Obviously fine with Vlad. Okay, I'm just okay with Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani's spectacular, but I don't think I need him today for what it's worth. I'm perfectly fine with Josh Smith against Castillo. Love Aranda today against Kramer. Well, that's one of my favorites. I'll go back to a guy like Ryan O'Hearn just because Bradley just doesn't have to strike out stuff this season. And, of course, we got expert play here from Creighton, my good friend over there getting closer to the West Coast. But Nick Kurtz, man, at 3,900, really good price on him for a guy that has some serious pop. So, like him quite a bit. I think first base gives you a really wide variety of cheap plays, big spins. Like Vinny P at 3,600, I think is a really good play also. I'm not rushing to stack up Kansas City by any means, but I do think Vinny P at 3,600, spectacular play today also.
All right, I'm going to go to second base. I know the bat, and I know even the RotoGrinders projections and ownership. Love Jonathan India, but he's just someone I don't know if you've been watching me on the weekends. I don't like him at all, and it seems like every time I'm in these high dollar head-to-heads, is like he always has a big game on Sunday when I'm playing against some of these things, and the guys use him against me. But I'm not on him. The guys I'm really interested in for sure are Brandon Lau and Matt McClain. You can mix in some Jazz Chisholm, I think a little bit more attainable on FanDuel than Draftkings today in consideration for cash. But I think you can I think Jazz is in third base over on FanDuel. But yeah, Lau or McClain are probably where I'm looking at. I think both are underpriced, TJ.
Yeah, I think Brandon Lau in a perfect world is where you get to. If you're just like, I can't quite get there, then Matt McClain or Tommy Edman, I think are both very viable options. McClain and Edman, same price on FanDuel, only 100 apart on DraftKings. So those would be the three that I think I'd be considering. But Brandon Lau, best case scenario, would definitely be the guy that I'd be going with. I think those are actually my favorites in tournaments too. Add Jackson Holiday to the mix, who I really like. Jazz Chisholm and Marcus Semien at a very cheap salary are probably my top guys there today.
Yeah, I see Jazz will on the optimal for SimLabs is popping, at least on DraftKings, the higher price tag, probably keeping people off of him when you're spending, in the mid fours for some of the outfielders, and you probably want to get Judge on your stack too, so maybe he's falling a little behind in ownership. The rest of these guys, I don't know. I'm not really seeing any of these guys. Maybe Jackson Holiday's probably the next guy SimLabs would want on there. These guys in the middle here, not too interested in. What are you looking at?
I mean, whoever fits in the stack, I think, is what's important to me at second base. Like right now, my second baseman's in the stack. I do have Brandon Lowe, I think, or Lau in my stack currently. I'm okay with Altuve against Tyon. Like if you just need someone, I'd much prefer you get up to Brandon Lau. But if you decide you want to play Altuve, I'm not going to fight you on it. Like obviously, I think Holiday against Bradley is just good because he's leading off. Same thing with McClain, who should have a really nice lineup spot. Also, I'm not really playing Ozzy Alvis because I do really like Suarez today. I'm playing some Brett Beatty. Jeff McNeil, another guy that I really like. He's probably my cheap second baseman if I'm getting it in a stack because the Mets are my primary today. So really love McNeil. I think it's a really, really good spot for him.
All right, we're just a couple likes away from 125. We'll get another Spidey bomb, and I got a bonus home run pick for you. If this guy, it's not on the main slate here. There's a guy in one of the 4:00 games that I really like to have a big day today. Let's go to third base. A couple ways you can play this today. So on FanDuel, you've got guys like Jazz Chisholm, a reasonable place to spend today. You can get up to a Devers. He's 3,800. I think Devers at 5,000 on DraftKings is probably a little more apt where you want to play him today. Just too cheap. You know, he's a $5,700 player, and DraftKings has him at 5,000 today in Chicago. So he gets the park upgrade over San Francisco. Bad pitcher, bad bullpen. Like Devers quite a bit. If you're going cheap, there are a couple of options. I know TJ mentioned Vargas at first base. He's 3,400 at third base. You're probably more looking to play him there. You've got Gavin Lux at 3,100 as well at the cheap end. So that's pretty much where I'm going. I'm going up to the Devers tier on DraftKings, or I'm going to either Lux or Vargas. And on FanDuel, you're probably looking to spend there on one of Jazz or Devers. That should about cover the cash game third base, TJ.
I actually do have a different perspective on this because I love Isaac Paredes today. He's one of my favorite bats. And so Paredes is going to be the guy that I'm going with. Only $3,100 on FanDuel, only 4K on DraftKings. And so Isaac Paredes is my top option. Jameson Taillon has just been horrific against righties this year. Max Muncy is a super cheap option I like for tournaments, but Chisholm, if I'm spending up, Chisholm or Machado, if I'm spending up, I like Machado more than Devers today. And then Paredes or Max Muncy for the A's if I'm spending all the way down.
Yeah, Machado's always. I kind of forgot about Machado because I save it for Tatis. I don't want any Tatis today. People love him against lefties, but he's been horrible for 3 straight years against lefties. Not on him, but Machado the opposite. Machado's great against lefties, so I understand people wanting to use him today. TJ, what are you looking at third base? It looks like from ownership, it looks like Devers, Barger from Toronto, who I would certainly agree with too. Lux, Jazz, a couple other guys up here too. What are you looking at?
Do you mean Will?
Yes, Will.
Yeah. Yeah, perfectly fine with Barger if you want to get him. I mean, he was Barger 3,900 yesterday. I think he was actually, but price is starting to come up. Obviously, he's been hitting well. Perfectly fine with Jazz here if you want to get Jazz in your lineup as part of that Yankee stack. I will go back to the well-known Ryan McMahon. Hasn't been hitting well. Don't care. Don't mind Brett Beatty here. I know we talked about him at second base. Perfectly fine with him there as well. If you want to get Paredes leading off, just a guy that's just a professional hitter, please, be my guest. Don't mind him either. Max Muncy at 2,800 against Stroman. Obviously, I mean, I think if you like the A's against the Yankees, then that's another spot that you could look at. But I think my top third baseman is just, whoever's going to fit in my stack. I think if I had to choose one guy off the board or just as a one-off, it's probably Jazz, and that's probably everybody's one-off third baseman as well.
All right, TJ, before we get to shortstop, let's get a Spidey Bomb for 125 likes. I got a bonus one. Who are you looking at?
I gave it early. That's Nick Kurtz.
Oh, Nick Kurtz. All right, so I'll throw mine up. I'm big on James Wood today in the late game. Just that Juan Soto trade, they got Abrams, Gore, and Wood for Juan Soto. I mean, Soto's great, but I mean, these other guys are really good too. Wood is just in a smash spot today. Mashes righties. The Angels starter just gives it up to lefties. The bullpen's horrible for the Angels. Wood's going to have positive at bats all game long. You get him at looks like a 310 on an ESPN or Bet 365. Someone I'm looking at today. So let's go to short.
I got Wood as well. I was able to get him at plus 300 for 4+ total bases.
Yeah, that's better than even the home run of 310 for sure. I would take that. No question. Let's go shortstop, TJ. Corey Seager, my guy on both sites today. I was off of him. Basically, I wanted to see him have the power to use him once he returned from injury. It's come back in the last week. I'm on Seager. He's priced too cheap at home, where Castillo struggles on the road. He struggles versus lefties. This is a great spot for Seager today.
Couldn't agree more. Seager is my top bat on the slate. Absolutely the guy I'd be going to in a cash game, and he's my number one for tournaments as well. Couple other guys that I do really like at the position: Jacob Wilson, cheap on both sides. Gunnar Henderson, I'm big on today. Ellie Dela Cruz, Bobby Witt, and then I don't mind Bichette or Lindor. So this is definitely a day to, 3K and above on DraftKings and 4, 5, and above on FanDuel outside of Seager. The other way around.
Witt's price is 5,100 on DraftKings, which is that's cheap for Bobby Witt. Normally he's in the high 5s to a 6. I understand that that's driving ownership, but I think the price difference, the 3,900 Seager is even more appealing to me because I'm going to be quite honest. When they're both on, they're close to similar in terms of fantasy production. So I'm just on Seager, maybe going against the grain there at ownership, but I'm with TJ on that one. Will, what do you think of Seager, especially at his price tag on both sites today? And then what else are you doing?
Yeah, price tag definitely too cheap. Lindor is just my favorite because the Mets are my primary offense today. So really like them. Obviously, I'm always going to be okay with Mookie Betts, man. Perfectly fine with Gunnar Henderson against Bradley. I'm once again, I think Seager in cash games for sure, and I'm not playing cash, but in cash games for sure, I think Seager's your guy. And I really don't even see a reason to play anybody under Seager. Like, I think you just play Seager and then whoever else you like above them. No need to try to go down and reach for someone that's a little bit thin, unless it's part of your stack, of course.
Yeah, I just really like Seager today. The power's back. Great matchup for him today. All right, let's go to the outfield. We'll have some time for some questions. If you guys want to start throwing them into the YouTube chat, if you want to start throwing them into the Discord chat, we'll get to those. We might even have some time for some random topics or anything else you want to talk about baseball today. We'll get into that. Outfield for me, this is just a really tough position because you only have 3 spots and there's probably 10 to 15 outfielders I want to play today, TJ. So you've got, and I guess this sort of plays out with the ownership on SimLabs. No one's higher than 11%. I think someone will get a little higher than that for large field tournaments, but it's really spread out today. So you've got Josh Lowe top on the RotoGrinders projected ownership. You've got 3 Yankees in the top 5 between Judge, Grisham, and Bellinger. You've got Reds, Friedel, Gavin Lux. You can mix in some of the Brewers today against Marquez and Churio and Christian Yelich. You've got the Mets in play. Nimmo's reasonably priced. Soto, pretty horrible to start the season, if you remember, but he's really turned it around. One of the few Mets bats that's hitting currently right now. There's a couple of cheap plays between a Spencer Steer and Roman Anthony for Boston today, who's hitting second. It's lefty, but he's reasonably cheap on both sites today. Just a lot of different ways to go. A's bats, you've got Butler and Rooker, I think are pretty good plays as well. Makes some sense. It's hard. Normally you come out here and there's like 2 guys you got to have in the outfield on both sites today. And I don't see it like that at all.
Yeah, I don't really either. I think Josh Lau is probably my favorite on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he's one. Oh, he is my top guy over there too at 16%. I'll be about even on Aaron Judge and Trent Grisham, but I'll be way underweight on Cody Bellinger. Colton Cowser is one of my favorite guys for tournaments today. He's just been absolutely smashing the ball. Ramon Laureano in the same game. He's been smashing the ball lately. Love both of them. Adolis Garcia batting cleanup today. I really like at a very cheap price tag. I mentioned how I'm big on the Rangers. I like the Mets guys, Soto and Nimmo. I like the Athletics, Butler and Rooker. And then Ronald Acuna as I don't like a Brave stack, but I really like Acuna as like a large field tournament one-off, him and Ohtani.
It looks like the high-priced players today are just SimLabs is telling you to play those guys. Like Judge is the most, he's the highest priced player, but he's he's the best player according to SimLabs because his output's so high. And I think because the price tag's up there today, and you mentioned you have to use one of those cheap pitchers to get to a full Yankee stack today. So it's keeping his ownership down a little bit. We've got Ohtani. Tatis is somebody. What are you guys doing with Tatis? Tatis versus a lefty. People always want to play it. But I mean, you can go 3 years back. And I mean, this is like under replacement level at the bat for Mr. Tatis against lefties. Now, I'm sure he'll get an at bat, maybe 2 against a righty. So that's fine. I think Lodolo is good enough to maybe keep him down today. I don't know. Tatis is you look at the bat, and I think even the RotoGrinders projections want him. I'm not on Tatis today. So I think that's why my outfield looks a little bit. Will, what are you doing with like a guy like Tatis, or how do you handle players like that in general, who the projections throw in, but there's such a long history with a split where it's not good. Eventually, I got to start believing the real statistics there.
Yeah, I'm not really getting much Tatis today, which means he's probably about to go nuts. But once again, no surprise, Juan Soto definitely going to be my main guy out here in the outfield. Love him. Obviously, if you want to play Judge today, it's part of your Yankee stack, perfectly fine with that. How about George Springer here, 5,300 against Buehler? He's really expensive. Not expecting him to get a ton of ownership, but this Toronto offense does what they're supposed to do. I'm not playing them today in my main team, so you guys can go ahead and thank me for all the runs they're going to keep scoring. You should be able to do pretty well. I'm okay with the Milwaukee guys if you want to play them. I do feel like I like the Athletics a little bit more than I should. But I mean, that's the here nor there. I think there are a couple guys like Lawrence Butler leading off at 4,700 is a guy that we know, had some pop. Same thing for Brett Rooker, another guy that has some pop there. If you are into the Yankees, then obviously, you got Bellinger at 4,600. He's a guy that you can get to. I like Tampa Bay, so Josh Lowe at 4,400 is a guy that I really like. I think, Brandon Nimmo is another guy that I really like in the outfield. Obviously, it's part of that Met stat. If you decide that you want to kind of get to the bottom of the order of that line, if you can get Simpson as well, Mangum, these are all other guys as part of that Tampa Bay stat that you can get to. But outside of some of those favorite guys, I'm playing all these guys as part of my stat.
All right, I'm going to divert to Kevin Roth here, talking about Atlanta. I know if any one of you guys have seen this today. So Roth posted this a couple of minutes ago, and I'm just going to read this. I got it on the screen share. The big question today is the lay chances in Atlanta with Strider on the bump. Models keep us dry during the game, but those same models have been trash all week in Atlanta. He doesn't have a clear answer. There's some risk, but he wouldn't call you crazy for giving it a go. I think yesterday it was like the entire park was surrounded by storms, and it was just, it managed to work out. I saw a tweet from him. Anyone, would this move you off Strider at all? Anybody? You can see there's a line of storms coming probably till, I think he says till after the game. Maybe they're moving a little south of the park. I want to see his update on RotoGrinders as well here. What do you guys make of this from Roth?
I'm still going to go with it. Like, it's such a trash pitching slate. It's not like there are a bunch of other options we can pivot to. He is by far the best one, so I'm going with Strider.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up, see if he's changed the colors at all. Chief, what would you be doing there?
Straight yellow.
It's just yellow. He's got yellow is usually not anything I want to avoid. So I brought this up here. So he updated this. Storms popping around Atlanta, delays possible. Not much you can say around that. Same in Baltimore. We're not really using those pitchers today. San Diego and Cincy, that's yellow. We're not really using anything there. So I think he's upped the risk a little bit. I see a yellow starting off, Will. I'm not usually too concerned, but I got to admit, I don't love the radar, this big storm kind of tracking towards the stadium there.
Yeah, I actually don't have Strider in my main team right now just because of, where I ended up and kind of how I wanted to approach this slate. So I'm building a bit differently than I anticipated, even in tournaments today. So we'll see how it goes. As of right now, I would say if you're playing single entry, I think you can get away with not playing Strider for what it's worth. But that's just me. You have to understand, like, the guy has immense upside. But I think you can get away with it though. But if you're really concerned, I think you can fade Strider and play, one of these other top guys, or get down into the mid range a little bit. If you want to have a little bit more mental safety.
I'm just trying to see, his pitch count's been in the 90s a few times. I think I'm still going to go with Strider, me personally here. I don't think I'm going to move off of it because you'd have to go to, on FanDuel, you'd have to pay more for a Ranger Suarez. And that it's not just more; it's 900 more. You can move.
Yeah,
to
well, I mean,
Valdez.
Rangers in the same game anyway.
Yeah, and like you'd have to move to Valdez or Bubic.
It'll be
Or
Patrick.
you probably have to go to. You'd have to go to Patrick, but I think you can do that. I'm not going to, but on FanDuel, if you're worried, it would be to Patrick. But then on DraftKings, I mean, you'd have to pay more for Framber or just, I don't know. There's not really another option I think you really would want to use on DraftKings. I think I'd be more apt to just roll with it on DraftKings, right? I don't think a lot of people would be moving off of it. And then you look at the options, and it's just not anything you want to do, right, TJ?
Yeah, 100%. I'm not changing anything.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do the same and just keep it what I had. I just wanted to bring that up because I noticed him tweet about it, and he upped the coloring. I wanted to make sure we had the latest information for everybody to make their own personal decisions. So at that point, I think I'm going to start taking a couple of questions. Let's see what's going on with my computer here. I'm going to go to the Discord first. Let me see if we've got anything in there. You guys can keep piling them in to the YouTube, and we'll get to those in just a minute here. Let's see here. Kyle Tucker, is he vengeful? I don't know. I'm not really trying to use the Cubs today, right? If Framber was the highest owned pitcher on the slate, you could think about it, but I don't think it's worth it today, right?
I considered getting to a couple Cubs lineups, but I didn't.
Yeah,
what do you think? They're so good, and I always play Cubs on every slate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tough team to get to.
Will, you got any thoughts on the Cubs? I'm just I don't know.
I'm not playing the Cubs today for what it's worth.
That's probably what I would do too. All right, going to go to YouTube. Jorge Mateo, he's been a long time in the chat, so I'll get to him. And this is a question I think a lot of people have. Ramos, Bellinger, or Josh Lowe for DraftKings cash TJ. So to me, I've eliminated Ramos. Ramos isn't in. It's Bellinger or it's Lowe.
It's Josh Lowe for me.
So it is Lowe. I switched. I think I had Bellinger in there a little earlier. But my lineup now currently has Lowe in it. I think it's very close between those two. But I don't know. It's really hard to go against the Rays bats right now with the splits advantage against Kremer. So I'm on Lowe over Bellinger today, personally. Couple more. Let's see here. Judge 144. Yeah, the Judge home run odds. I saw FanDuel had it at even money. It was plus 100 on FanDuel a couple days ago. I mean,
I got Ohtani at plus 325 today.
Yeah, that's okay, right? That's no matter what, you're probably okay betting that. But the FanDuel specifically, their home run odds, you really got to pay attention to what you're betting on there because they really just push them to almost unbettable odds on a lot of players over there. Cannon as a pitcher for the White Sox today. This no, right? TJ, you had a couple cheap pitchers you were looking at. Why don't you talk a couple of your cheap pitching options for those dumpster diving?
Yeah, Marquez is my favorite one by a fairly wide margin. I have about 30% of him today. He's 5K. He should be like 6,500, and that's really the only reason. It's not a good or terrible matchup against Milwaukee, but it's a Rockies pitcher outside of Coors who, like Will brought up earlier in the show, like we're 3 years removed from this guy being an all-star. He was really good, and now all of a sudden he's pitching good again. And he's only 5K. So on a slate where there are very few pitching options to feel confident about, I like going all the way down to Marquez. And then the only other one I'm taking shots on, which I feel much less confident about, is Luis Severino, just because the Yankees are going to be most people's top stack, and they've been striking out a lot lately. And so I do have some Severino in there.
Yeah, a couple other guys. I would play Lauer for sure, basically like the same price. And I would play, yeah, that would probably be mine. TJ's talked me into Marquez. I think the more TJ talks about it, the price tag, what it gets you, I'm buying in, TJ. I will endorse your Marquez from maybe earlier in the show. I thought you were a little crazy, but I certainly get it, especially at the price tag today. I like that call quite a bit here today. Let's see here. So Mike wanted to know, he has Brandon Lau and Ellie. So should he go Josh Lowe or TJ Friedel? So would you rather have? Maybe it's a little different because Ellie's so expensive. So would you rather have the Reds today or the Rays?
Rays for me, but That's just me.
I think that's everybody
Me
I
too.
think today though too, right? So like if even factoring in what projected ownership could possibly be, you guys still want to eat maybe a little more chalk with the Rays today?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
I
Framber's
don't think we
ownership.
really have to worry about it on a slate this big. Like, is there a batter even projecting for over 20% ownership today?
No, it was like 10% was the highest. I think someone.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about chalk with my bats at all. And the other reason why I'm totally comfortable playing Strider and Patrick together is just because you don't have to worry about dupes or running the same lineups as people. There's so many good offenses. That's not a thing. Like, there isn't chalk.
I can't wait to tell you guys what I built. Hopefully, you guys don't puke. I'll tell you after we hit lineup.
You got a Marlin stack? Not, that's for later. That's a later one. Marlin's money line. You can go get that one.
I built the cash lineup on FanDuel since I'm sitting here going through it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to make a bad looking cash lineup today. You're gonna like your lineup on FanDuel today pretty easily. So, someone want to know Framber's ownership. I did refresh the SimLabs. It looks like ownership has changed. So if you were doing anything based on ownership and wanted to get a final look, and you're looking at the tools of RotoGrinders, give it a refresh. It looks like they've changed it over the last, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes, something like that. Framber coming in as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th highest owned pitcher at around 13%. Thoughts on that? I think at that percentage, he's been pretty good. I think that's okay. I would still play Ranger Suarez over Framber today, Will. What do you think about that? Right? Like Ranger at lower ownership and a couple $100 cheaper seems better to me than Framber against.
Yeah. I like Ranger better than Framber for sure. And once again, if it wasn't for the weather, I may have built around Ranger today, but I did get some exposure on the prop side just in case.
All right, TJ, what would you do with this ownership on Framber today? I know I don't think he's in your pool, but what would you be doing him at 10,000?
I think it's nuts to have him in your pool today, if I'm being completely honest.
All right, so there's that pretty strong take from TJ.
You don't like Ranger today, TJ?
No, Framber.
Oh, Framber.
I like Ranger. I like Ranger.
I
think Framber at that ownership is an awful play. Like, why wouldn't you just play Chris Bubich for $700 cheaper in an equally bad matchup at a third of the ownership? You know, like I don't get the Framber stuff at all, but I do like Ranger.
We've got a question from in the Discord from Blink182. Large field Draftkings tournament. So TJ, I'm going to throw this to you. This is in your wheelhouse. Merrill or Cowser, or a better suggestion at 4,300 or less. So let's handle Merrill or Cowser first. And then
Cowser.
do you want Cowser? I would agree with you on that one. And then at 4,300 or less, I don't think I would. I like Nimmo quite a bit today at 4,200, but the Altuve I don't hate either at 4,200. You can play him. But like this is like the no man's land in DraftKings pricing today is like 4,100 and below. There's not too many people you want to use today, right? So I think I'd play probably Cowser, and then I'd probably go Nimmo personally if I was choosing between those. Sherman in Discord wanted to know Ben Rice or Josh Lowe on FanDuel today. That would be Josh Lowe for me, specifically for cash. Maybe Rice is a little more tournament upside, but I'm not even sure with what the Rays have been doing.
Agreed.
What do you think, TJ? Look, it's just hard to go past the leadoff hitter for the Rays today, right?
100%.
God, I hope they don't let us down.
Who, the Rays?
Yes.
Yeah. What did they score? 7,700 runs in the past 2 games in that series. So,
oh boy.
we'll see what happens today. Montas, we didn't really talk about him. So horrible in AAA, like horrific in AAA in his rehab starts. Comes out, has an okay game against the Braves. The walks weren't there. The control wasn't there. Did have the strikeouts, limited them well. Are we overlooking him today against the Pirates? I think, big braining, it makes sense to want to throw him out there for a tournament at, I think he's in the mid 7s, something like that today. No, he's 8,400. So he's up there.
Yeah, I don't want to
I'm
get
not
there. He's
playing
too
him.
expensive.
I would say he's coming in at 14% ownership. Let me look in this. So he's the sixth highest owned pitcher. So you're saying specifically at that ownership, I think both of you would probably be out on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
80, 85 pitches, walked 3 guys in his first game, was terrible in the minors, and he's priced appropriately. So no need to get there for me.
Is Judge a priority for cash today? To me, that's a no, probably just a little bit too expensive. Like my highest priced player on FanDuel is a $3,500 Jazz Chisholm. And
Me too. We might be running the same lineup.
my highest priced player on my DraftKings cash team from a bat is currently Brent Rooker. I really like these A's today against Stroman in Yankee Stadium. So I'm not getting up to that top tier today.
My highest owned bat on FanDuel is 3,500. My lowest owned is 3K.
Yeah, so we probably don't have the same lineup, but I do
1 for 1 or 2 for 2 off.
Yeah, I have Matt McLean in there, so he's 2,800. So I know it's not exactly the same.
Oh yeah, I was considering doing McLean too.
Let's see a couple more here. Yup, that's me in the Discord. So we'll probably just get another question or two. Mead or Muncy? He can't decide between Tampa Bay and an athletic stack for DraftKings single entry. So what would you rather have there, Chief? Do you want more Rays or more A's?
I like the Rays today. I hope, like I said, I hope it doesn't come back to bite me, but I do like the Rays.
What do you want, TJ? These are some of the lower owned players on both teams today. You have a preference? Mead or Mead? Mead, all right. Muncy from the A's there.
I do like the Tampa better in general, but just for straight up there, I think I would go Muncy.
Someone wants to know Verlander versus the White Sox. So I didn't write it up, but one of my biggest strikeout bets of the day is Verlander under 5.5 Ks. He's just the low strikeout version of himself here. Does anyone? I know he's not in your pool, TJ. Would he enter a larger MME pool for some people? Looks like he's going to be the 8th highest owned pitcher today, around 12.5%.
I could be having 500 lineups instead of 150, and I would have no Verlander.
All right, Will, if you were throwing out 150 today, Verlander for you?
No.
Yeah, I'm just I'm out on Verlander today. Let's go under 5.5 strikeouts. All right, we've hit lock here today. Let's all hold hands and pray for Spencer Strider and Ranger Suarez weather to be okay for pitching for 5 or 6 innings or so today.
Guys.
Let's see this lineup. Let's hear this lineup Will had.
I ended up with Lauer and Marquez at pitcher.
What stack does that get you today?
That gives me the Mets and the Rays very comfortably. I basically got all the good Mets and Rays, Lauer and Marquez. And basically what I'm hoping is that Lauer I looked at that Boston lineup, Brett, and saw those strikeouts.
It's not good.
I said, man, if Lauer can just go 6, pick up 6 and get through clean, and Marquez gets me if Marquez gets anywhere near 15, I should be feeling really good if these offenses do what they're supposed to do.
I think your expectations for Lauer, Will, should be 5 innings. That's what you should be going in with it. And then if you get just a little tick up, or he's cruising, you're doing good, right? So I think that's what you got to have your expectations for Lauer today. So if you see him come out at 84 pitches after 5 and he's doing good, don't get mad at Toronto, because I think that's just what they're starting to do to ramp him back up a little.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think he's only gone over 80 once.
Yeah, so he could get there, but
that was also last game.
Yeah, the 5 innings, but I'm expecting him. He's looked good. The peripherals look good. I'm expecting him to have a reasonably good outing today. Hence why I'm backing Toronto. I think that's going to do it for today, guys. I want to thank TJ and Will for joining me. We won't mention Will's last name from yesterday's Quinn Priester's performance. But anyways, thanks to all you for watching. Click the like button on the way out. We would greatly appreciate it. Go bet all those Spidey bombs. And for TJ and Will, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, and we out ya.